The views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the producer and those appearing in this show and do not necessarily represent the views of DerryCAM, the town of Derry, or any of its staff or affiliates.
Hi, I'm Anthony Henry, and welcome back to America's Ass. We are on episode 11. We are at the season 2 premiere. We're off our summer break, and we're back in action. So, I'll introduce you guys to my guests for today. Please welcome Clayton Wood and Cyril Ors. They represent Chichester and Pittsfield. So, Clayton, we'll start with you. You can introduce yourself.
This is my first year in the House of Representatives representing Pittsfield and Chichester, and I co that position with Cyril Ors.
Hi, I'm also a first-term representative. I'm Cyril Ors, and we represent Merrimack 13. And I am in Chichester, and Clayton is in Pittsfield, and we're glad to be here today.
Okay, I'm glad you guys are here too. Thank you for coming on. So, one big topic in the news today, well, yesterday technically, because it happened yesterday, but everyone's talking about it today. House Oversight Committee met yesterday, and they interviewed two whistleblowers named Mr. Shapley and, I forget the other one, but they both worked for the IRS as investigators, and they claim that they were stopped from doing investigations into the Hunter Biden foreign stuff. And obviously Hunter Biden has also been mentioned in the news because of this whole White House cocaine scandal that he may or may not have done. They can't figure out who did it. But, so, yeah, I think it's just another incident of cover-up from Mr. Merrick Garland and Mr. Joe Biden, the big guy. So,
yeah, a lot of the discussions we have with people when we're talking about positions in the State House, people feel that they're not being treated fairly, and here's another example. Lack of respect by government officials. Cocaine in the White House doesn't seem like the detective branches can find or investigate any details of anything. They found nothing about the cocaine, and there always seems to be a double standard. And being conservatives, people feel like the conservatives have are being held to a different level than other people.
Yeah, so it's definitely a case of a double standard. I mean, the average person would be prosecuted. They'd probably be in jail by now. There's no doubt in my mind they know who left the cocaine in the White House. It didn't walk in there by themselves, and with all the technology and everything else we have in this country and in the White House, I'm certain they know. They're just not going to say it. Unfortunately, we do have this double standard of justice. Folks at our level, even being representatives, we don't have the benefit of the very wealthy, the very powerful that are in government. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
yeah, so like a lot of people, I have been to D.C. just for, touristy things. And obviously, I stopped outside the White House to look at the White House. And when I was there, I was just looking around, and I looked at the White House itself, and I saw something move on the roof. And I'm like, what is that? And I look closer, and I realize it's a sniper. They got snipers on the roof. They got security walking outside the gate, some on bikes, some on foot. They probably got listening devices, I'd guess, too, in case someone threatens to do something. So they got all this. They got who knows how much security in the White House. I've certainly never been in there, but they probably got more than one camera in every room. The president's definitely always got someone on him. And they can't figure out who left the cocaine there?
Yeah, you would expect more out of all the money we have tied up in that building. It seems to be the least inviting place in the world right now. I think they've lost track of what the White House was supposed to represent. It's supposed to represent the people and not the people inside the building or the living there. And you would expect them to know what's going on. They're protecting the president. They're protecting all the people in there. And something like that happens. It's almost hard to believe that they don't know who did it.
Right.
Or whose cocaine it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it reminds me of is the Epstein suicide.
Yes.
Every camera happened to be down.
And the guards happened to be on break. There was nobody around. And there's no way his throat could have been crushed the way it was with a bed sheet or anything. So we all know what the real story is there, but it's unfortunately the system we're living in right now.
Yeah.
Justice for some.
And I've made this comparison countless times when talking about Hunter Biden, but I'll make it again. If this was Donald Jr. or Eric or Ivanka or Barron, it would be on every single news station in the world. But it's not, because it's Hunter Biden smoking crack and doing cocaine and prostitutes and whatever he's doing in there.
Yeah. Well, definitely, if it was Donald Jr., I mean, he would be in prison. We've got cocaine, illegal guns, and it's all on
Tax evasion.
film. Right. So there's no way. I mean, they're persecuting President Trump now for what seems like insignificant items, but here we go. You know, it's a double standard.
Yeah, and I did watch much of the House Oversight hearing yesterday. I recorded it. I encourage you two to watch it when you get home, because it's quite a hearing. The Dems ask very different questions than Republicans, I'll just say that. But yeah, double standard at its finest. Okay, so big New Hampshire politics news as of yesterday. Chris Sununu, the 4-term governor, has announced that he will not be running for re-election. And literally minutes after he made that announcement, former U.S. Senate candidate and former state Senate president Chuck Morse made his announcement that he's running. And Kelly Ayotte announced that she had an announcement in a few days. So, and not only Kelly Ayotte, there's a couple others that may throw their hat in the ring, such as Frank Edelblut, the education commissioner, or Robert Burns, the former Congress candidate. He also said he may run. So,
Yeah,
what are your
I'm
guys'
definitely
thoughts?
excited of a possibility of Frank Edelblut running. I've gotten to know the man over the last couple of years. He has explained to me the fine points of a public charter school, and he has been on record many times with some of the key points that Cyril and I ran for office in Concord. Parental rights. I hear him say all the time that a parent's job is the toughest job out there. And also, he is a staunch supporter of school choice and options that are leading our state to having a much finer education.
Yeah, so I don't think I have an opinion as to who I would vote for at this point, but I definitely would think I'd give the edge to Frank. And I've had a chance to hear him speak a couple times. I think he'd make a great candidate. And I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think Morse has been around too long. We need to get some fresh ideas, some fresh conviction. And I think Frank has a very good conservative style that will blend with what we're trying to do in the House as well. So that'd be exciting.
Yeah, and one thing I find interesting as an election nerd, this is going to be a toss-up race, because with Sununu, whether we like him or not, obviously we agree with him on some things and disagree on others, he was an electoral juggernaut every time he ran. He always won by double-digit points,
Right.
because he somehow found a way to make himself one of the most popular politicians in the country. So now that he's out of the picture, we have to find a way to get our next Republican candidate with that same kind of what's the word? Vision, I guess, with that same aura around him. So I haven't really decided who yet. I definitely like a lot of what Frank's done. He almost beat Sununu in 2016 in the primary, lost
Yeah,
by,
he ran
barely
a
lost.
He ran a very good race.
And then he was a one-term state representative. So he was relatively unknown, and he almost defeated someone from the Sununu family who's been in New Hampshire politics a long time. And as for Kelly Ayotte, she hasn't been in office since 2017. She's definitely on the liberal side of Republicans. She refused to vote for Trump in 2016, instead opting to write Mike Pence in. So I don't think she'll get any of that wing of the party. And as for Chuck, I think he has the most electability. I blobbed that word, electability of the candidates, because He's a former state Senate president, former U.S. Senate candidate, so I think he has the best chance of winning. Doesn't necessarily mean he's my favorite as of right now, but I think he has the most experience, and he might have the most name
Yeah,
recognition.
he might have a lot of experience, but you got to remember he fell pretty flat running
He did.
the
He
last
did.
time for the Senate.
Bolduc beat him.
Yeah.
Bolduc beat him. And as for Robert Burns, I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, well, for the three candidates, the Republican candidates, I think any of them would be much better than Joyce Gregg. I mean,
Yes.
her track record is horrible. She also dropped the ball on the Montgomery child case. And as far as the other Democratic candidate, I do not know enough about her to jump in on that.
So the two Democrats that are running, first is the favorite is Joyce Craig. She's the current mayor of Manchester, three-term mayor. Disliked by much of the city because of the homeless crisis, the Harmony Montgomery case. That was a big thing that she just let slide, and nothing ever happened for years about that. That angers me.
Yeah.
And Cindy Warmington, she's the only Democrat on the executive council, and she's just your average liberal, I believe. Steve Shurtleff endorsed her, I believe, and Terry Norelli, former House Speaker, too.
Well, I'm just starting to go to Manchester more than in the past, and I'm amazed at how many people have problems with what's going on there. Unfortunately, I did not experience a lot of problems in the past. I haven't been to Manchester, but now everybody's speaking about a lot of issues. So if she's going to take that history or baggage with her and try to become governor, that should be a problem for her, I believe.
Yeah, but, you know, people don't educate themselves enough. So I'm worried that people are not going to realize how bad she's done.
Well, that's why we're having this show.
Yeah, yeah. Educating the people that watch this about who to support.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So we did this a couple episodes ago with Brian Cole and Tim Cahill. I'll do it again. Cyril, you've endorsed DeSantis.
I have.
Clayton, you've endorsed Trump.
Trump,
So
all the way.
what are your reasons? We'll start with Cyril.
So I believe that Ron DeSantis would do a good job. He's done a wonderful job in Florida. I wouldn't say he was perfect, but he's done a wonderful job. At the primary, when we get there, I don't care if it's Don or Ron, Vivek, or Tim Scott. I think they would all do a great job. Any one of them can do a much better job than Joe Biden's doing. I have no confidence in Kamala Harris. Interestingly enough, RFK Jr. seems like actually a decent candidate for the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
And what I've actually heard him speak. I had my photo taken with him in the State House. He was there. I happened to be there. I thought the news crew was there to interview me, and it turns out they wanted to interview RFK. So with that, I think actually he's a good choice for the Democrat Party. But I endorsed Ron DeSantis because I didn't endorse Vivek or Trump. You know, and now Tim Scott's in the race. I like them all. And the House majority was endorsing Ron DeSantis, so I endorsed Ron DeSantis. I'll just say it like it is. But it could have just as easily been Vivek. I've been to a couple of Vivek's rallies. I think he's a great candidate. Let the best man win.
Okay, when it comes to Trump, what can you say? We have nothing but disbelief now. We're talking about cocaine in the White House. We're talking about government agencies that don't even seem to be able to get out of their own way. Pretty much there's only one man that has even shown the ability to touch this type of situation. I think it's worse now than it was when he was president the first time. There's only one man to do it. I liked a lot of what Ron DeSantis said. However, he said that he is going to put a special team together. There's no team out there to help. The Trump is going to have to go in and be Trump, and he's going to have to be no more Mr. Nice Guy. And he's got to get in there and dismantle this whole mess so that we can start getting on with our lives. I mean, we talk to businessmen all the time, and we just heard someone speak last night at one of the GOP meetings, and how he could actually predict how his business was going. Well, Donald Trump was it in. Now he can't look out to his business more than a month, one quarter, and that is kind of questionable. This is what we need. We need Donald J. Trump to come in and do what he does and do what he does best. I think that what we need to do is the Republicans have to understand that and back this man and get the job done. But there's no one else, to be honest with you. I think we have good candidates. We have non-woke candidates. We have people that we don't have to fall on our sword and buy all this stuff. Vivek, he's got a good point. Ron DeSantis has a good point. Tim Scott. However, there's only one person that can handle the craziness now, and I'm sure you read about this craziness every day getting ready for this show. You know, who would ever thought we would talk about cocaine? And there's nobody with a reasonable mind that believes you can bring cocaine into the White House.
We never
unless
saw
your family.
We never saw any drugs of any kind when Trump was in the White House.
Yeah.
So
Trump doesn't even drink. I mean, here's a man doesn't even drink, so he's as straight as they come. Yeah. And also, I guess I would add that President Trump did a great job. I mean, he turned on the energy. I mean, we were exporting energy, and now we're at the mercy again of the Middle East and others. It's terrible. Like I said before, any one of these four can do a great job. Trump did a great job. He's proved it. Actually, I've been surprised by some of the animosity against him. I don't understand it. I think people need to understand who Trump is. Trump is a New York guy. They'd rather punch you in the mouth than say hi to you. That's just the way it is in New York. And if there's any doubt, if you don't want to go to New York and find out for yourself, just go to a Phillies game and wait for the New York Mets fans to come down on the train. It can get ugly real fast.
Good point. All right, so
that's one hell of an endorsement.
we haven't had any endorsement like that on this show
Not
yet.
for a while.
So, all right, so now we're on to you. So feel free to tell your story.
Okay.
What are you passionate about at the State House? What was it like running for the first time? You guys are very new to the State House, so.
Well, I would like to just jump in real quick and say that the Granite Rock endorsed us. And the endorsement was, we don't know who these two guys are, but it's best that Jim Allard finished third. And so that was a great endorsement. How many times has Clayton said, do you hear somebody say, I don't know what they're about, but they can't, they got to be better. Yeah. So that was it. Speaking of endorsements, that was a great endorsement.
Yeah, we played everything that came our way. We had, go on record, I don't like running for politics. I love serving in the State House. It is an honor to represent two towns. It's an amazing experience, and I encourage people to get more involved. You can do a lot more than you can imagine. We were in a town that had a GOP representative that was constantly voting with the Democrats. So I looked for someone they redistrict our town, so now we're part of Chichester. So even if I were to be Jim Allard, then he could have still come in the second position. So I needed two people. We needed two people, so I found my brother here, and we pretty much, except for the endorsement of president, we're pretty much on the same page. My passion was the mandates. Obviously, getting away from the mandates, the state of emergency dragged on and on and on and on, even when much longer than it should have been. And most people forget that New Hampshire handled the state of emergency out of one of the best states, and then all of a sudden we got trapped in this never changing prison. And the other thing was school choice. Those were the things that drove us to run. So we're both conservatives, both believe that that's the way to do the best for our towns and for the state.
Yeah, so I think that we got involved, and actually Clayton dragged me into it as it really worked out. He and another guy, Dan McGuire, got me to run, signed me up on the last hour, the last day. And I I must say, we worked 87, I think, out of the first 90 days. We didn't take any vacations, and it went very well. It was a lot of hard work, but we made it pay off. We worked very well together as a team, and I think that my time in the House has been very productive. I've enjoyed it a lot, and it's been quite a learning experience. I've had to read a lot in order to do my job and learn a lot, and it's been great.
Yeah, we got two major things passed in HB2, which is part of the budget bill. We had trouble with the state of emergency. The House passed it, and then the Senate got rid of it. Then we attached it to SB2, which is HB2, which is part of the budget, and it got passed. So we got that one passed. We also got the additional funding to the charter schools passed in HB2. It was the same thing. We got it passed. It dropped out. It's very difficult. We have, most people know there's about an even split in the House. So to get things done takes a lot of negotiation.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraging people who listen to this to get involved. The state of emergency, which was important to me, got a real boost by agencies like Cornerstone actually getting people out to write to promote it with the senators. The senators were being a little reluctant on that. The House actually did their job in this case, and they got it done. So it takes the whole state to be involved, and these are key issues. So now the governor he can call the state of emergency 3 times for about a total of 90 days. I think it's a little less, but 90 days. After that, it goes to the general court, and it takes a majority of both branches to keep it going or to end it.
I don't think I have anything to add to that. So,
So one question I'll ask you guys: what was the energy on the campaign? Because you guys had a high-profile campaign because you were taking out this incumbent that was kind of notorious for being a rhino. So what was the energy like? Were you guys confident that you could do it? Were you worried that, you know, one of you would get on, one of you wouldn't?
yeah, well, I'd like to jump in on
Yeah,
that.
go for
Yeah,
it.
well, when people asked us if they thought, what are you going to do with both of your names on one sign, on our road signs? And we were like, you know, they're like, what are you going to do if both of you don't win? It's like, we don't plan to lose. And the energy was we worked together. We worked together real well. We've become very close for two guys that never spoke a word to each other before he shows up at my house with Dan and gets me to sign up. So we've done a great job, I think, in at least covering the bases. We knocked on doors. We put up 100 signs. We put out mailers. We put out information in the local newspaper. We did whatever it takes to get elected. And then after we won the primary rather easily, we then won the general election by doing the same thing. We didn't take vacations. We worked that 90-day or whatever the stretch is, roughly 90 days, and we got it done. I mean, we just put the nose to the stone, as they say, and got it done. And that's what it was all about. The energy was working together, made it easy, made it fun, actually.
Yeah, I worked the political polls, the polls for many elections, and this is the first time in Pittsfield we had a record turnout. And the GOP, we had people there all day. I had more people supporting all the GOP candidates at 7 o'clock at night than the Democrats had all day long. What we were able to do was to take, the GOP has some incredible platform positions, and what we did was we focused on them. When they talked about abortion, we're pro-life. Next topic. You know, there's not a lot to discuss when you on some of these issues. You know, the biggest failure we had was parental rights. I cannot understand parental rights and why we even need to pass it. But we had two bills: HB 10, which was a state bill, the House bill, and SB 272, which was from the Senate. both of them fail, and both of them fail because of the Republicans, the small group of Republicans that either misunderstood or misrepresented the bill. I mean, when it comes to parents, there's no tougher job than being a parent, and they have to be involved. I got involved with my school on the transgender bill, not bill, but policy, JBAB, and basically I was floored by a policy that prevents the school from telling the parents that there's something that's interfering with their child's education. It doesn't have to be just transgender. It could be anything that interferes with your child's education. The parent has to know. By law, by common law, by state law, by constitutional law, the parent is responsible for the children. The children don't have rights. We have, as parents, we have to know if our kids are doing something wrong. It's very clear in the law, so I don't even know why we're doing this. And not only not tell the parent, they don't even have an age on this. This policy could be, so I brought this up to the school board. They discussed it for 4 months and still pretty much left it the way it was. I said, what if it's a 5th grader? What if it's a 4th grader? I mean, you're not going to tell the parent. I mean, it made no sense at all. So, and we didn't get that job done. Both bills have been tabled and one indefinitely postponed.
Yeah. So parental rights.
That means we can't discuss it in the second part, the biennium.
Yeah, I mean, our society's turned upside down in some areas. I mean, parental rights shouldn't, like Clayton said, shouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, the parents have been, it's the nucleus of everything, the family is in this world. Yeah. And my wife and I have raised 4 of our own children and 24 exchange students. Like Clayton and his wife, they've adopted 3 young ladies now, 3 young ladies. My wife and I have tried to adopt twice and were refused. And it's just a crazy world. Yeah. Very disappointing.
Going back to Trump, the first thing the first day I spent with Donald J. Trump, the last thing he said was a clear list of the things he was going to change. Parental rights, he's going to correct. The first day he's in there. Men and women's sports, no more. Yeah. He's got a clear list of this craziness. I mean, we shouldn't be wasting this time at the State House and the Senate to give parents authority over their children. Again, it's the craziness that we're talking about, and that's why we want Donald J. Trump.
Okay.
Notice how I slipped that back.
All right, so we are just about out of time. So, Clayton, we'll start with you. Feel free to give parting words.
Well, I'd like to thank Anthony for giving us this opportunity. Clearly, this is not me. I get nervous. I have a lot of thoughts that sometimes don't come out, but I want to thank him for the opportunity, and I want to encourage young people to get involved. Anthony impressed us. He was at I think we met the first time at the GOP delegation meeting. Yeah. And we almost were going to buy him a drink. I guess I shouldn't say this because he impressed us. I thought he was a lot older than what he was, obviously, and I never did. So don't have them come after me. And but I was very impressed, and I know the young people have a lot to offer us.
So I guess I would like to say that if any young people out there are watching, if they want some help and understanding some of what they're going through in high school, feel free to reach out to Anthony or look me up. My information's in the State House brochures, and feel free to contact me. I'd love to spend time with you and explain to you what the future path looks like. And of course, it's a smorgasbord, and you're going to have to take the time to decide what is it that you want to do and what you're going to do with your life. Thank you very much.
All right.
Well
So
said.
that caps the episode. I'm Anthony Henry. This has been America's Ass. Thank you for watching.